What's up, it's your boy Hobo Drobo, and yeah, that's right, I bet you didn't think your boy could upload a video longer than 20 minutes, but that's because this video is going to be a little bit different than normal. I have a lot of matches to share with you guys, all being an Onslaught. I had a crazy amount of success with this deck, and it was so much fun to play with Magnus, so for this first match, we're going to go over how I use him, the strategy, as well as my thoughts on the patch notes. And then after this first match, I'm just going to summarize the beginning of each game. That way you guys can understand what to look out for. And then I encourage you to play some of your favorite music over the matches. They're pretty hype and some of them come down to the wire. And I'll have timestamps in the description for every single match, as well as a quick summary of what you can look out for in each of them. I wanted to do this because I wanted to bring you guys more full matches, but after I summarize my strategy once or twice, I don't really need to commentate over it the entire time. But there were a lot of different people I was able to go up against and a lot of different heroes with different towers, so I wanted to highlight what they were using just as much as what I was using. We even have somebody using Vesper at the end of this video who put up a really good fight. So let me know what you guys think of this format. Check the description if you want to see some specific details on matches. Otherwise, I'm not going to do this for every video, but I think for a day like today, it's proper. So first, let's talk about this deck, and then I'll get into the patch notes. This is very similar to what I was running before in Onslaught with Necromancer and Rangers, although this time I'm bringing Musketeers. And Musketeers did get nerfed, but on this map they're so good because they can reach into the portal lanes, and there are so many Ghost boosters and so many Necromancer players in this Onslaught map that you really need that extra range from the Musketeers. You're going to see that my tower layout is basically the exact same for every single match, with just a few changes depending on what boosters are sent. And now, what's really important is that in Wave 6, once the boss gets towards that middle choke point, you want to start selling those Musketeers and buying Archery Scouts, and you'll see exactly why in a few of these highlight matches. Like any Necromancer deck, this strategy is going to work best in the first 3 rounds, and you're going to get a lot of fast wins, but then once you get past round 4 and 5, it's going to get a little bit difficult, and I found that most of my matches either went to round 3 or went to round 6. Now let's talk about the man of the hour, Magnus. And oh man, he is a lot of fun to play. I tried him in one game of Stadium and he definitely struggled, but that's only because he's underleveled for me right now. Otherwise, in Onslaught, he is a beast. And I think I was spot on with my prediction in my original video, where I said that he's going to get a lot of his value from having his clone up, and he definitely does more damage than Elora when he has his clone up, compared to when he's solo. And you'll see that in our next match, we have an Elora versus Magnus. And shout out to the people in the comment section who gave us the stats for Elora at those lower levels. I'll throw them up on the screen when we get to that match. I think Magnus will primarily be used in Onslaught to begin with, but he definitely can be used in Stadium. It just depends on how the level scaling is. I think if you're higher up there in Stadium right now and you only have a level 7 Magnus, it's not worth it. My Beresad was doing a lot more damage and was able to keep up compared to the Magnus. Now, a couple of key things to note about Magnus that some people were confused on. 1, he does do true damage for all of his abilities and his base attack, not magic. If you're seeing any wrong displays or descriptions for your cards, make sure the app is updated because you can still play while it's not updated, but all those won't display, so make sure you're updating your app. 2, you can micro his clone, but it doesn't teleport, so it's going to be very slow just like Magnus, and Magnus is actually slower than Elora and Grawl at his base speed, so you're going to want to make sure that you teleport him away and then teleport him back if you need him to quickly move just a small bit in the same area. It's not worth letting him walk there. Since he can teleport as many times as you want him to, and he can do it really fast, you may as well use that tech. Kind of like Elora, where you'll click away farther than where you want her to go, and then you'll quickly tap back so that she doesn't have the slow walking animation. Really nice tech, and it's going to make your micros with Magnus feel a lot smoother. Another thing you can do is teleport Magnus behind troops. Elora is nice because she has her trail, but she is susceptible to being targeted by like the axe throwers, and she can go down a lot because of that. Magnus being able to teleport gives him a lot more survivability. And then the last micro thing that I found useful with Magnus was teleporting him away from his clone when he spawns it. Sometimes I was able to get his clone to spawn in one lane, and then I can teleport him to the second lane, and then his damage is split up, and it was able to get a nice balance of damage. Sometimes you want him in that same lane, and you'll see in some of these rounds, especially in round 1, when they send a Troll Zerker, when Magnus spawns his clone, the Troll Zerker gets deleted instantly. And if you guys have been experiencing that in some of your matches, you know how satisfying it is. And then one more thing that I want to mention with Magnus is the pull rates for Summon Rift. It's 1% chance for 3 cards. And while that sucks for the normal rate, it's actually nice because once you hit that 40 scroll pity amount, it gives you 3 copies. So once you hit 40 scrolls, you can already get him to level 6, and then if you hit it again, you can get him to level 7. And that's what I did. You can see my scroll pulls at the end of this video. I didn't have any luck getting some extra cards, but at least I got 6 epics instead of 2 from the pity amount. Whatever dev put that in, give them a raise. Now let me give my quick thoughts on the patch notes. And honestly, these balance changes are really nice. I think the biggest noticeables are sniper shots getting nerfed. It was definitely noticeable in these rounds, but even here, I was able to use the sniper shots to take down his Magnus, and that definitely helped. So I don't think it's gutted, but it's definitely not as noticeable when it comes to the one shot too. Archmage did get nerfed a little bit, and I'm fine with that, but honestly, I don't think Archmage was really bothering me as much as it was before. There's plenty of maps and plenty of strategies that you can use to counter Archmage. The Holy Sanctuary buff was nice, and I'm going to have to test that to see if it's actually good. Otherwise, the Ingvar buff to his abilities is really nice, and I think that he's going to be even better in Onslaught now. And then Vesper getting some buffs to his cooldowns is huge. I know we didn't see Martial Flourish touched, but that stun getting increased to 3 to 5 seconds is massive. When that ability is only on an 11-second cooldown to begin with, I mean, come on. Vesper is going to be crazy, and we do have a match with him at the end of this video. The last big thing for me was Polymorph getting fixed. It also helps indirectly nerf Musketeers, because those shrapnel shots with the sheep were just way too busted. And it's still really good, but overall, you're going to have to be able to time it a little bit better. And then Lightning getting the 4 strikes back is huge, as well as being reworked to make sure it doesn't unstun targets. I love that, and I'm using Lightning a lot. And you can see I'm actually using Rain of Fire and Lightning here because I'm trying to get as much damage as possible. That's really key for helping you win in those early rounds if you can. But wait, bro, how could I forget the Archery Scouts buff? That is awesome to see, and I think Ironhide wants to encourage people to use Archery Scouts as another air targeting option, rather than just the Barbarians, and I think they were already good to begin with. They're really clutch on maps like this where they can reach over that ledge, and you're about to see with this boss coming up, it's really important to be able to stall him, but I'm also going to sell those Musketeers after I get the ad clear, and I'm going to buy 4 Archery Scouts barracks. And by their ability to do the flame damage, that cooks this boss, and it gets me the win barely before he crosses the line. They did get nerfed when it comes to their melee damage, and I think that's very fair. They should be more effective at what they're supposed to be used for, and then they should be able to be taken advantage of when they're approached by mobs. Now, I'm using Stun because it gives a 3% decrease in Magic Tower's skill cooldown. However, you can use Icy Zone here because there's barely any flying troops, and it's definitely a lot better for stalling the boss and any other high HP troops you have at that choke point. But it's definitely personal preference. I really like Magnus because he probably has some of the best mobility in the game now, and he also has high DPS in the rest of his kit, making it so that I don't have to rely on the Necromancer to put a lot of damage out, and that makes me less scared against Archmage players. But really, I haven't been afraid of an Archmage player in like 3 weeks now. There's just so many ways to be able to counter them. And here you can see how important it was to buy the Archery Scouts, not only for the damage, but also just to stall. Otherwise, the boss would have crossed the line, and I would have easily lost. So very cool strategy to use, and make sure that if you're getting to round 6, you're selling those Musketeers for Archery Scouts. Now, we're going to start transitioning into some of those matches where I'm not going to do full commentary. Since this match is against Elora, I'm going to put up the numbers that the comment sections had given us, so you can compare Magnus at the different levels. My summary in the beginning video was basically spot on, although I do think that Elora and Magnus has some different utility, and so Magnus is more damage, and Elora is more stalling and utility. It really depends on your playstyle and what you prefer. They're going to be good with different types of tower combinations. I was surprised to see that their base number was very similar, but when Magnus gets his clone, he cooks. This match highlights a few things. The first one being the difference of the micro between Magnus and Elora. You can see it's pretty similar, but that difference is noticeable to where I feel like they're a very different hero. And then you can see how much Archmage affected me and how I was able to counter it with the damage output of Magnus. I'm using Fireball and Lightning, but I don't have Polymorph, and so you can make your judgment on that. And then also pay attention to, again, how I'm using Stun to make sure the boss has barely enough time to get retargeted onto those Archery Scouts at the very end, getting me the win. I'll catch you guys in the next match. Enjoy. I'm still lacking on copyright-free music, but for now, at least you can pick anything that you want. Go crazy. My personal favorite is Masayoshi Takanaka. He will enlighten you, and I'm seeing him live in 2026. Another very close match, and that stun in the end made sure that he didn't hit those archery scouts walking past the line, and I got the dub. Now, let's look at a Beresad versus Magnus match. These next few matches are going to be really good examples of showing you how to micromanage properly in order to get wins on early rounds. What's going to separate you from your opponent in some of these matches, especially in the early rounds, is knowing the patterns of how troops come out. For example, on this map, at the end of round 1, there's 2 snowboarders that come at the top left and 2 dogs that come at the bottom right. And so if I'm able to TP Magnus there just in time, I'm able to easily win these early rounds. That's all you really need to know here, so pay attention how I'm using my micro, as well as how I'm setting up my towers. Buying towers in the correct spots in those early rounds also goes a long way. Sometimes having some pressure with the skeletons throws my opponents off, or if I have ghosts, I'm really paying attention to the time and cleaning everything up right away. That's why I love that Magnus can just TP wherever he wants, because you can get there, especially on these maps where the lanes are very far away from each other.
Knowledge is power. It's a kind of magic. Hocus pocus. Rust, use my magic. A kind of magic. Dance with the dead. This is my boomstick. Locked and loaded. Eye on. The storm. Dance with the dead. Power, unlimited power. This is my boomstick. Knowledge is power.
This Ashbite match is the exact same. He brings 2 legendary towers, and he doesn't have Beresad, so he's not going to be able to afford them, and then I'm easily able to get more value out of my early game towers compared to him, and I take him out in round 3.
It's a kind of magic. Eye on the power. Eye on knowledge is power. Locked and loaded. Hocus pocus. Power, unlimited power. It's a kind of magic. Unlimited power. Hocus pocus. Knowledge is power. Dance with the dead. This is my kind of magic. Power, unlimited power. Hocus pocus. my magic. Knowledge is power. Downloaded. That's a kind of magic. Knowledge is power. Hocus pocus. This is my boomstick. Power, unlimited hocus pocus. Kind of magic. Chill before the storm. You will unlimited power. Chill before the storm. Knowledge is power.
This is another good example of shutting down an Elora archmage player. I'm able to beat them in round 4, and so even though it doesn't go to the boss round, they go for Dissipate really early, and it actually ends up biting them in the ass. Don't get me wrong, archmage is still a good tower, but it's not just a set it and forget it win now.
Kind of magic. Power, unlimited power. Downloaded. This is my boomstick. Knowledge is power. Hocus pocus.
This match is to show you how you can swarm Blazing Gem players. However, the only 2 games I lost today was against the Blazing Gem, and that's because they were able to spawn Eldritch Mages, and at the end of the rounds, it made me lose because I wasn't able to kill them as they came out of the portals. I've seen some people recommend that summons shouldn't be able to go through in the last 10 or 15 seconds of Onslaught rounds, and I agree would be a little bit more fair, because in that case you basically need Polymorph or it's a bust. So while I was easily able to swarm my opponent in this match, you'll see in our next match I'm just going to show the boss highlight, where they did a really nice job of crowd controlling around the boss, and I stood no chance. The Blazing Gem did a ton of damage and I lost.
Magic. Power. Unlimited power. Locked and loaded. Dance with the dead. Knowledge is power. You will obey. Looking for movement. It's a kind of magic. Power, unlimited power. Focus, it's a kind of magic. Power, unlimited power. Locked and loaded. Knowledge is power. You will obey. Power, unlimited power. It's a kind of magic. Knowledge is power.
I don't need to show the full replay for this match because it's basically the exact same as the last one, although this time they were able to get a lot of nice crowd control onto the boss. The Blazing Gem locks on, easily takes it out. So if you are struggling with this deck against Blazing Gems, you're going to really need to win in those first few rounds, otherwise you're definitely at a disadvantage.
Hocus pocus.
This was the match where I got oversworn by Eldritch Mages, and shout out to Edgar here because he stayed really resilient, coming back down 3-1. Awesome match, and it was really cool to see how he was able to adjust and make sure that I couldn't get my strengths and weaknesses under control.
Hocus pocus. Eye on the path. Eye on the path. Locked and loaded. Dance with the dead. It's a kind of magic. Power, unlimited power. This is my boomstick. Knowledge is power. This is my unlimited power. Knowledge is power. Locked and loaded. Hocus pocus. It's a kind of magic. You will obey. This is my boomstick.
Chill before the storm.
Power, unlimited power. Hocus pocus. Knowledge is power. It's a kind of magic.
Dance with the dead.
Knowledge is power. Hocus pocus. It's a kind of power. Unlimited power.
Rust.
Knowledge is power. magic. Unlimited power. This is my boomstick.
You will obey. Head up rising.
Unlimited power. Kind of magic. Locked and loaded. Fire will. Kind of magic. Power, unlimited power.
And here we go, our final match against the man himself, Vesper. But this match is really interesting because he goes down 3-1, and he's actually able to stay resilient and hang on until the boss round. However, in that boss round, there's not much he can do to stall, and I think that if he had sold one of the Necromancers and bought archery scouts, it would have been able to get him a win. But it was very close, and he did put up a good fight, and I appreciate getting to see a player use Vesper at a pretty high level.
Locked and loaded. Knowledge is power. Hocus. This is my boomstick. It's a kind of magic. This is my boomstick. Unlimited locked and loaded.
Dance with the
Knowledge
dead.
is power. Hocus pocus. It's a kind of magic. Power, unlimited power. Kind of magic. Knowledge is power. This is my boomstick. Hocus pocus. Locked and loaded. Power, unlimited power. Hocus pocus.
You will obey.
Kind of magic.
Chill before the storm. Rust, use my magic.
Thank you guys for watching. I'm having a lot of fun with Magnus, so let me know what you guys think of him. And let me know what you guys think of this video format. It's definitely not an everyday thing, but here and there it could be a good thing, and at least it's more content even if I'm not commentating over the entire thing. A lot more of Magnus to come, and I will be checking out Vesper and Ingvar very shortly. But until then, good luck in your next battles, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.